welcome to the program. My name is Abuman Kota, and you are watching the TPN TV and radio network. Today, we have a very important guest from Gambia. His name is Mr. Fabakary Tombong Jatta, and he was the district accountant at the Nigerian Airways in Banjul, where he worked between 1979 to 1996. He was also elected as APRC Regional Chairman for Kanifing Municipality in 1996 to 2002. He was elected as a member of Parliament for Serekunda East constituency in January 1997 to April 2017. Upon being elected as member of Parliament, he was also a desk officer for Kanifing Municipality. He was the leader of the nominated Gambian members of Parliament at the Pan-African Parliament in 2004 to 2017. While at the Pan-African Parliament, he was elected the chairman, the Committee on the Administrative and Financial Evaluation of the Pan-African Parliament. Mr. Jatta was also the chairman of the West African Caucus at the Pan-African Parliament in 2014 to 2017. From 2007, he was elected as the majority leader of the Gambian Parliament until 2017. He also led the 5-man Gambian Parliament to the ECOWAS Parliament in 2015 to 2017. Upon the departure of the former president in 2017, he took up the leadership at the APRC party. Throughout the life of APRC from 1996 to the date, he has been a national executive. Mr. Fabakary Tombong Jatta, thank you very much for coming to the program.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure.
So let me ask you the first question. How is the former president doing?
The former president, His Excellency, Chief Professor Alhaji Dr. Yahya Jammeh, is fine. He is fine in Equatorial Guinea. He is happy, just that he missed the Gambia. And we are also grateful that for all the efforts done by the government and people of Equatorial Guinea.
Okay. Yeah. So now let me go ahead and one thing a lot of people wanted to know is after Mr. Jammeh lost the election in 2017, he called Mr. Barrow, that is the current president, and accepted defeat. But a few days later, he changed his mind. Instead, he wanted to do a re-election, a rerun of the election. So the question here is, what happened? Why did Mr. Jammeh change his mind?
Yeah, thank you very much. You may be aware that President Jammeh is aware of the fact that, believes that we have one of the most efficient electoral systems, which is almost very difficult to read. So upon the counting of the votes, in January of 2016, he called President Barrow to congratulate him and promised to work with him for the betterment of the Gambia, which he did honestly and sincerely, believing that everything went wrong, everything went right. Now, what brought about the change of mind was the IEC itself. Some 3-4 days later, the IEC came back with a new result, which is unprecedented in the political history of the Gambia. The first results, the coalition defeated the APRC with about 50,000 votes plus. Now, when he came with the second result, he alluded that there were errors of counting in URR, that is the Upper River region of the Gambia, that warranted the difference to come down from 50,000 votes plus to about 19,000 votes difference. This ridiculed everybody. We could not understand that. There was no force behind him to announce the results when he is not sure of what had happened. Upon announcing a new result, President Jammeh now has he now wants to believe that something might have gone wrong. And so far, the Constitution provides that after elections, any of the contestants could contest the results at the Supreme Court, he decided that now that IEC is coming out with new results, we brought down the difference from 50,000 plus to about 19,000. He decided to resort to the courts. Now, when we filed this thing to the courts, ECOWAS, Senegal, some other international bodies, we are not very receptive of that. They were all bent on him leaving and accepting the results, or the economic force will come to the Gambia and he will be removed forcefully. That doubted everybody. I don't know what is wrong. So a president who went into polls to contest the results as per the constitution of the Gambia, that is easier done than bringing in soldiers or economic forces to invade the Gambia. So the result that it is the IEC itself that created the doubts in the minds of the APRC that warranted us not to accept the results until otherwise determined by the Supreme Court as per the constitution.
Well, the problem was that a lot of people said that Mr. Jammeh wanted to use his influence on the Supreme Court so that the election will be turned to his favor. Do you have any disagreement with this?
No, that is not true. Let me please know that the Supreme Court consists of 5 people, 5 judges. And 3 of those judges were in Nigeria. One was in Sierra Leone, and then the Chief Justice, who is a non-Gambian, was the only one in the Gambia. So if it were possible, it is only those governments where the judges come from who may be able to influence the judges to put aside professionalism. But that is the law, and it was going to be open, and evidences are going to be produced as we had enough evidence. So why don't you give justice a chance?
So the APRC, which is now you are the leader of the APRC after Mr. Jammeh fled the country, ruled the Gambia for almost 22 years. Can you give us an example wherein the good things that Mr. Jammeh did during these 22 years? Because what we outside of Gambia know, Yahya Jammeh is a dictator, Yahya Jammeh is a murderer, Yahya Jammeh is stifling democracy. So you as the leader of this party, can you give us examples of development that Mr. Jammeh did over the past 22 years in Gambia?
Yeah, thank you very much. To give you the preamble, Africa, we have a lot of challenges, especially African leaders. You either told the command of the West, or you are labeled a dictator, a tyrant, somebody who tortures people, whatsoever. We all know President Jammeh is a Pan-Africanist.
Yep.
He believes that he was elected by the people of the Gambia, and he owes his first allegiance to the people of the Gambia for their welfare. Now, in short, prior to President Jammeh coming to take over the reins of power in the Gambia, could you imagine that we had no university in the Gambia for the 32 years rule of the former government? 2, we had only 2 hospitals built by our colonial masters. The previous government never built 1 hospital for Gambian citizens. 3, would you believe that throughout, after independence, up to the time President Jammeh took over the reins of power, the former regime never built 1 senior secondary school for Gambian children. 1. We used to have about 23 senior secondary schools throughout the length and breadth of the Gambia. Not one of them was owned by the government prior to 1994. The only government high school then was Armitage High School in the province, which was built in 1927. At the time President Jammeh left the shores of the Gambia, in January of 2017, we had 123 senior secondary schools in the Gambia. Would you also believe that electricity in the Gambia was limited to the capital and some small part of the urban area, the Serekunda area? Even these areas had very little electricity. It is during President Jammeh's time that the electricity was extended to the greater Banjul area, to the provincial capital throughout the Gambia, and that we had rural electrification project which electrified villages, most villages throughout the Gambia. If you look at our airport, we used to have, they call it a chicken. The first modern airport was built by President Jammeh. The road networks in the Gambia was almost non-existent. Throughout the north bank of the Gambia, from Bara to Pasamax, throughout the colonial and the Fourth Republic, no 1 inch of macadamized road was on that side of the Gambia. President Jammeh built the road from Bara to the end of the Gambia on the northern side of the Gambia. He did the same for the southern part of the Gambia. He also, you may hear of the Congo coastal roads, which henceforth, before him, were non-existent. To an extent that the greater Banjul area has covered not only Serekunda, Congo South, Congo North, Central, are almost all one city, because you have road networks, you have electricity, you have water all around. To the extent that the land value for land, has risen from bringing a kilo of kola nuts to over about $500,000 for 30 meters by 30 meters. You can, yes, sir. At the time he was coming in, you remember, the reason why he came in, students were taking chairs to school and tables to school. How could they provide chairs to schools? Water was being sold in Brikama, sale of water. All those things came to an end. We have permanent structures for schools. We have water is everywhere. And the Gambian himself is empowered by the 1997 Constitution, which has made the voting, which has reduced the voting age from 21 years to 18 years to enable youths of this country to participate in decision making. Hitherto, a Gambian woman married to a foreigner, his son or daughter will never be recognized as a Gambian. It's only a Gambian man, if he marries to a foreigner, whose son or daughter could be recognized as a Gambian citizen. To ensure and empower women, those things were removed. Both the Gambian man and woman, if you marry to a foreigner, your child is automatically a Gambian. These and many, many more are the reasons why Gambians are calling for the return of His Excellency, former President Yahya Jammeh.
So, Mr. Jatta, thank you very much for this wonderful explanation. I was in Gambia for 4 years, and I met Yahya Jammeh multiple times when I was a refugee there in the Gambia. So I know exactly what you are talking about. So, but why Gambians, some Gambians are today saying that Yahya Jammeh is a dictator. Do you think Yahya Jammeh will ever come back to the Gambia either to contest or as an ordinary citizen?
You see, Yahya Jammeh is a great believer. He has faith. He believes in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So far, you have been in the Gambia. You have known the type of man he was. He does not compromise corruption, and the cheating of people. His entire life was centered on providing for the people of this Gambia. Yahya Jammeh is a citizen. He has not mortgaged his citizenship, and more Gambians now are calling for his return. And I am confident that sooner than later, former President Yahya Jammeh will be back in this country. If you remember, immediately he left.
Is it as a citizen or as coming to contest for presidential election again?
You know, that is determined by the party. If he comes back, is the party Congress that nominates and elects the flag bearer. So, and the Gambian people's choice. So, for him to come to the Gambia, we know there is no law that can prevent him from coming to the Gambia. Whether he comes back to power or not will be determined by the Gambian people, depending on whom they want.
So, I know you said one thing that is very, very important. You said the West always want to control everybody, and the moment you as a leader says no, you are termed as a dictator. I know Mr. Jammeh actually offended a lot of Western countries, including Britain, which probably is the main culprit here. Now, let me ask you this. One of the things that Mr. Jammeh did was the claim that he was able to cure AIDS. Are you, as a confidant of Mr. Jammeh, did you ever see any patient that was cured by Mr. Jammeh?
Yeah, you know, if his claims were done by a white man, people would have believed him. But because he's a black man. Now, when President Jammeh claimed that he is curing AIDS, he never said it from the blues. The virus was taken. People who have been cured before they were, when they got AIDS, their blood was tested at international laboratories outside the Gambia, and they were confirmed to be to have HIV/AIDS. After treatment, the same results are taken and sent to international recognized institutions around the globe. And their blood is found to have no virus of AIDS. What is that? Is that not a cure? And so many Gambians then, who have been cured, came out and thanked him for curing them. What else do people want?
So let me make sure I understand this. Before Mr. Jammeh cured this patient, his blood was tested outside of the Gambia, and after Mr. Jammeh says he has cured this person, they retest this person and find out that the person no longer has AIDS. That's what you are saying?
Yes, you know, he's working with doctors like Dr. Mbo, who is a renowned doctor in the Gambia. These people are tested and they are HIV positive. Now, after treatment, they are tested again, not in the Gambia. These samples are sent around the globe. You may want to know Dr. Mbo, who has been working with him as the head of the medical team. You may find out from him. He's a professional. He should be able to tell you details of what has happened. What was clear was that people who were HIV positive, after his treatment, were negative.
Okay.
And all these things are shown on the television and all these things.
So here is the why, because HIV/AIDS is a very, very deadly disease. If somebody says he has cured AIDS, and like you said, the person, they tested this patient before the treatment and retest the patient outside of the Gambia before the treatment, why the Western society did not embrace Mr. Jammeh's cure.
Yeah, you know, this is what I said. You see, the West sees the black man as inferior, unfortunately. That we don't have talent to do some of the things they claim to do. The West, following his pronouncement, you were here and you heard it. The West never accepted it. And would you believe that this was done free of charge, no payment? President Jammeh was doing all the expenses. He was putting all the bills. He was providing the accommodation and everything at no cost for the customer. But you know that President Jammeh, as I told you earlier, is a Pan-Africanist. He will not readily give out his skills and knowledge in HIV/AIDS to the West for them to utilize it and make billions out of it.
Yeah, because I
but he can
remember
people have come around from other countries and they got killed here.
Yeah, I remember at one of his interview when Al Jazeera, correspondent was asking if he can actually give the regiment of his cure. He says no, he cannot do that. Now, let me ask another very important thing about Mr. Jammeh. Quite recently, I know the current government is setting up a Truth and Reconciliation Commission, and the government actually encouraged people who have been suffering from Yahya Jammeh's rule to come out and explain their suffering, the brutality that Yahya Jammeh did to them. And one lady from Canada, she was, I think, a lady that contested for the beauty pageant in Gambia. She said that Yahya Jammeh raped her. And this has become an international, story. What do you say about this? Is this true? Or if not, how can you prove to us that indeed this lady was never raped by the former president, Mr. Jammeh?
Thank you very much for this very important question. Let me first of all give you a preamble. I told you earlier that ECOWAS, AU, and the West were all out to ensure that President Jammeh leaves the office of president in the Gambia.
Okay, we can.
So make sure.
Yeah.
So make sure that APRC is no more. A massive smear campaign was launched against President Jammeh and the APRC. He was labeled a killer, a torturer, a dictator, corrupt. He was corrupt. A lot of things were said. For 2 years, with all those remarks, more Gambians are coming back to the APRC. And today, we are the biggest political party in the country. When that failed, you remember you talked about the TRRC. The TRRC for us is just an institution to which harms President Jammeh and his people. If you remember the 30th October coup d'etat in the Gambia, one of the coupists fled the country and went to the United States of America. There he was prosecuted and sentenced. Following President Jammeh's departure, he was given a red carpet welcome in the Gambia here as a coupist and is appointed to the TRRC. Could you expect anything clean or decent to come from a coupist who wanted to overthrow the government by force to come and talk about and investigate about Yahya Jammeh and the APRC? Don't we have enough independent-minded, honest, and dedicated Gambians here to fill those positions? The issue of the lady who claimed that he was raped by President Jammeh, I can tell you, it's a fallacy. It's not untrue. Let me say this. Some of his own beauty contestants are refuting it. The people who were managing them are refuting it. All this is a smear campaign. We are trying to compile the facts. And so far, we have found that a group of people are trying to find out from some of those things, people do this pageant, to give them money so that they can elect against President Jammeh, just to tarnish his image. We are doing our own investigation, and I can tell you, some ladies came to me, and they told me that they were contacted by this same group about rape allegations from President Jammeh. And one of the ladies told me he insulted them and told them not to ask anything about that or not to ask her anything like that. He has never been raped. So let them not contact her. In fact, he benefited from President Jammeh and the APRC. So these are smear campaigns just to weaken and tarnish the image of President Jammeh. And at the end of the day, the truth will come to light.
So there is another allegation that Yahya Jammeh has been killing journalists and brutalized opposition. What's your take on that?
Yeah, thank you very much. You know, if you remember the truth and the PRRC, you know, it's in existence.
Yeah.
And people have been going there. And they have been testifying. You can hardly hear anybody talk about President Jammeh. Prior to the TRRC, the information given to Gambians was that Yahya Jammeh was the worst killer. But the facts are coming out. And that these people are tutored. Some of them are tutored before they come to testify at the council, at the TRRC. So, yeah, I will tell you one thing. President Jammeh had no friends. He has no relatives. His friends and relatives are those who are committed to delivering services to the Gambian people honestly, sincerely, and professionally. He does not bow to any other force except to the Gambian people and to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that had earned him a lot of enemies to an extent that he had been a thorn in the earth. So, but Gambians now come to the Gambia, talk to Gambians. Gambians are crying out for his return, immediate return. That is the truth and nothing but the truth.
Is it because of that because I remember at one time there was a demonstration in Banjul, and when we saw people are calling for the return of Yahya Jammeh, is that the reason why this Truth and Reconciliation is now being set up or exacerbating Mr. Jammeh's brutality, or what?
Yeah, you know, we as an opposition now are pleasantly surprised by the fact that what used to happen in the Gambia when we were in government, even if you point your finger at somebody to an opposition, the press, the human rights groups, the international community will cry foul. But we now as an opposition, would you believe that all our vehicles were seized from us, our party accounts frozen, our people shot to death like bullets, our people arrested, detained, forcefully removed from our offices? So a lot of things are happening to us. Hardly could you hear these things.
So
just recently, one of our members was shot at a checkpoint. Haruna Jatta, when they were doing a peaceful demonstration, was shot with a live bullet, and he died. No investigation. Nobody is talking about it.
So, Mr. Jatta,
what is the problem?
Yeah, Mr. Jatta, we have to also to be sincere here. For the past 22 years, can you tell me the bad things that Mr. Jammeh did? Because you can't say for 22 years Mr. Jammeh never did any bad thing.
You see, one cannot say that APRC or President Jammeh made no errors or no mistakes and was perfect. You know, the beauty of our party now is that we are able to reflect on the past because we believe, and seriously believe as a party, that only by reviewing yesterday and destroying the rotten and the bad, and make a critical assessment of today, can we formulate and lay the foundation for a better tomorrow, a more sound and new tomorrow. That's our policy. We are not saying that we have not made mistakes. But what the Gambia achieved within these 22 years that President Jammeh led this country is unprecedented. And Gambians are saying it today. Remember, the Gambians were misled. There were a lot of forces in the social media, which was highly used by the people in the diaspora, making a lot of statements, making a lot of promises, when others believe that we are expecting something better than what we have, only to find ourselves in the circumstances we find ourselves. But yes, we made mistakes. One of the weaknesses that I observed about President Jammeh was he receiving information about something wrong. He gets infuriated and acts immediately. He does not tolerate those things.
Okay.
Well, some people capitalize on that, and then they try to inform him about certain things which may not be correct. But because of his trust in them, he will order for those things to happen, only to find out that some of those people who were advising him were mischievous. But I bet my life, as a Muslim, that if President Jammeh can turn the Gambia into heaven on earth, he will do it. He has the heart, he is merciful, he helps Gambians. He does not want to know whether you are his supporter or you are of his ethnic group. All what is let you be a human being. What President Jammeh did in this country during these last 22 years, the good that he did far away his limitations. And there is no government. There is no perfect government in the world. The best of people are you reflect on the past to ensure you put in a regulatory framework to prevent a recurrence of some of the errors you have done.
Okay. All right.
But APRC is the only party well structured with a very strong manifesto that can deliver.
Okay. Well, we have few people.
Yeah,
we have few people that wanted to ask you questions, and we can give them a few 1 minute to ask questions. And please, guys, if you are not called, mute your phone until you are called. Ask your question. Just ask the question. We don't want too much commentary because we have we don't have enough time right now. Let's start with Mr. Abdul. Do you have a question for Mr. Jatta?
Yes, Mr. Jatta, thank you for coming to the program. The question that I have, you are an African, we are all African. You know there is a proverb that says your immediate neighbor is your first protector. In other words, you should always have a good relationship with your immediate neighbor. Like, for instance, what I'm trying to say, your immediate household neighbor, if something happens to you right now, they will be the first people to come to your house before even your family who lives in the other part of Banjul to come to your rescue. So don't you think the demise temporarily of Mr. Jammeh, he does not have a very good relationship with his immediate neighbor, the president of Senegal and the government of Senegal? Don't you think that contributed also to this discussion that had he had a very cordial, brotherly Muslim relationship?
Yes. Thank you very much for this very important question. Yes, you are. It is true that neighbors, even as per the African proverb, neighbors should be able to care and help each other. You know, the problem between the Gambia and Senegal is that it must be recognized that the Gambia is a sovereign independent state, like Senegal. And while Senegal wants to see Gambia as a province of Senegal, that would be difficult for a president like Yahya Jammeh to accept. He wants an excellent relationship with Senegal, but on the basis of equality and recognition of the sovereignty and independence of each other's country. So he is very firm on the fact that the Gambia is independent and cannot be colonized again. And if somebody sees you as a junior brother and asks something from you to do, you don't do it, the person feels bad. So this is the reason. But we have some good neighbors also. We have Guinea-Bissau, we have Guinea-Conakry. He has excellent relations with them. Our different Gambia and Senegal are one people. We must recognize that. Every Gambian has a relative in Senegal and vice versa. But they cannot discount the fact that we are sovereign and independent states. We cannot be secondary to a country. And that was one of the reasons.
Yeah. So let's go
Why?
to
The relationship with Senegal was not very well as we expected.
Yeah. Okay. So let's go to Mr. Abdul, do you have
I'm not done yet. I was going to ask him before then he started. The follow-up question that I have, Mr. Fatidita, is it because of history always give less?
Mr. Abdul, it seems your phone is Mr. Abdul. It seems your phone is.
Do you? Okay.
Yes,
no,
yes. I'm not telling you well.
Okay. I said we are all students of history and we learn from history. So you and Mr. Jammeh, your party, do you think as a result of what happened to Mr. Dagbo, because if you look at the issue of Africa.
Do I think, I have not heard that well.
Yeah, your phone is going down, Mr. Abdul. Your phone is going dead. I don't know what's going on. Yeah. All right. Try to fix your phone first. Let's go to Mr. Kabo.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you barely.
Yes, okay. Go ahead. Yes. Go ahead, yes.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So, Mr. Leader, do you think, Mr. Jammeh, and you think as a result of what happened to Mr. Dagbo, that is why he decided not to challenge ECOWAS? We all happen, you know what happened in Burundi. It's still there. Even the Organization of African Unity, which is not.
Yes. No, you see, as I said, President Jammeh is one person who would not mind to shed his life for the Gambian people. I can assure you that. He does not want any suffering for anybody resident in the Gambia. When this impasse came about, President Jammeh insisted that he is not leaving until the court decides otherwise. The Supreme Court, for that matter. There were these consultations between ECOWAS, AU, UN, and of course some of his friends within West Africa and North Africa, that is Guinea, Conakry, and Mauritania. Based on an agreement they signed, President Jammeh decided to leave the shores of this country and go to Equatorial Guinea. What is most interesting is that immediately he left, neither ECOWAS nor AU or the UN came to ensure that that arrangement, that signed document is honored. if President Jammeh had known then that it will not be honored, he would not have left the source of this country.
Okay.
So what we are asking now is to challenge the AU, ECOWAS, and the United Nations. So that they challenge the Gambian government, because otherwise, if it happens somewhere tomorrow, their credibility would be at stake. Who would believe in whatever, who will believe in the arrangement or agreement they will want to make with them? That was the reason.
Okay. All right. Let's go to Mr. Kabo. Mr. Kabo, do you have a question, please?
Yes, I do. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you clearly.
All right. Good afternoon. I believe that's Mr. Njai, correct? I don't know if I missed the name. Is that Mr. Njai?
Mr. Jatta.
From the Gambia?
Yeah.
Mr. Jatta. Mr. Jatta or Jai?
Jatta.
Jatta. Mr. Jatta. Okay. Good afternoon, Mr. Jatta. Welcome to TPN Radio. My question is that I'm going to ask you. I know I'm just trying to explain. I know Yahya Jammeh came into a series or two different facets of governing in the Gambia. One as a military, and then as a democratically elected president. Now, my first question is going to be based on when he was a military president. That's to say, a leader of the APRC. We found out that when they overthrew, there were four henchmen of them, four main people that carry out the coup, which was very successful. And one, of course, himself. And then we had somebody by the name of Sana Sabali, and we had somebody by the name of Sadibu Haidara and Edward Singate. Now, within that time period from 1994 to 1996, what has been the fate of these three men? Because it seems like they faded as time went on, and I haven't heard about them again, not even after the transition from APRC to a democratically elected government. Now, I want to know the fate of these three people from the period he was as a military leader, and for the fact that three of them over the government. I want to know the fate of these people.
Give him chance
and
to
the next question, the follow-up question.
Hold on.
The follow-up question is that.
Mr. Kabo,
Let me answer this, and then you
Mr.
can
Kabo,
come up
hold on
with
the
the follow-up.
follow-up question. Let him answer.
You are right. It was a five-man military junta. So, Yahya Jammeh, Sadibu Haidara, Sana Sabali, Edward Singate, Yankuba Toure. And of course, Lamin Kababajo was also part of them. Now, during the transition, that the 2-year transition of the military, after following the military coup, there were allegations of a counter coup led by Sana Sabali and I believe Sadibu Haidara. Now, Sana and Sadibu got arrested, taken to a tribunal, and they were convicted and sentenced to Mile 2, that's the prison, sent to Mile 2 prisons. Sana Safi Sam, he left, he was released, and then he traveled abroad. Sadibu died. Edward Singate was with the government. He was a cabinet minister for a long time. Then he was removed. And then he was nominated to be the the vice commissioner for ECOWAS, which was the Gambia's turn, by President Jammeh. And then he went to Abuja to serve as deputy commissioner for ECOWAS. He is still there. Yankuba Toure is in the country here. Kababajo is the head of FIFA, is the head of Gambia Football Federation, CAF. So those two, if you remember, Sana Sabali was then the vice chairman of the APRC junta then. And he came back to the TRRC and he testified from Germany He came back, testified, and went back. And then we all heard what he said. His first day at the TRRC, very honest, very independent. He took responsibility for what he did, and said the circumstances, because of the circumstances warranted those things. He apologized. He saw it wrong and said he was then young also. So this is what happened during the transition, following the transition. Some of these people served with the president in and out for many times until a few years or so before he left the course of the Gambia.
Okay. So what's go to for your follow-up question, Mr. Kabo.
Now, the next question is, within the period of 1994 to 1996 was a military coup, and under his presidency as a military president. Now, he thought it wise that it's not necessary for a military government in the Gambia. He decided to transition from military government to a democratically elected government. Now, what prompted him, rather than handing over to the civilians, what prompted him to take off his uniform and form a new party and become democratically elected? Now, if he was democratically elected, was it actually democracy in the Gambia, or any form of kind of democracy apart from the Western democracy that was practiced? Because why I'm saying this, we see that he's been elected democratically, as to speak, in 4 different terms. Were there no capable people? And what causes his downfall? Was it the international community or the people himself? The people, his own people himself. Okay. Because knowing Yahya Jammeh's background, he came from the smallest group, which was the Jola. And the Jola was a deprived tribe in the Gambia during the time. Yeah. So what actually...
I know you seems to know a little bit about Gambia. You live in Gambia before. So well, let him answer the question. Go ahead, Mr. Jatta.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, Yahya Jammeh comes from the Jola tribe. You know, for those who know the Gambia, the Jolas mostly are self-reliant, very friendly, very hard-working people, and they have no pride. Now, I wish you talk to the GRPS to give you some of these things. What happened was, when President Jammeh and his junta took over power, to determine the number of years they were to serve, a committee was set up to go around the country. 4 years, 5 years, 3 years, 2 years. And the majority of Gambians, by the committee, said that it cannot be more than 2 years. And then President Jammeh and his junta accepted 2 years. Before the end of the military period, various Gambian opinion leaders throughout the length and breadth of the Gambia, from all tribes in the Gambia, met President Jammeh and urged him to retire from the army and form a political party and contest. Why? Why did that happen, you may ask? You see, President Jammeh came in after independence, 32 years post-independence. Throughout those 32 years, what could not have been achieved? President Jammeh, during his transition period of 2 years, did a lot of things for Gambians. No more water sales, schools got built, roads got constructed, electricity improved, education, cost of education reduced, despite the sanctions of the West on the military junta. If you remember, when journalists ask him, where do you get your money? He will say, from Allah's bank. He did miraculously well during the transition. That prompted Gambians to trust in them and ask them to form a political party, because all what Gambians need was to better their lives.
Yeah.
That warranted
Well,
him to form a
Mr. Jatta,
political party
yeah, Mr.
and
Jatta,
contest elections.
yeah, Mr. Jatta, for the sake of time, we have 3 more people. Let's go ahead and Mr. Ahmed Kanu, quickly, your question.
Okay, good day, everybody. My question for Mr. Jatta is that after the evacuation of President Jammeh, your party, have you thought about reforms?
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
I want to know if you've thought about reforms and what you going to tell us what has really happened during the time Mr. Jammeh was there, that you should have done that you didn't do because of the fear of the president.
Okay.
No, remember, I have been a member of parliament from inception. I have been a member of parliament from 1997 when we went into politics, up to 2017. And out of these 20 years, I was majority leader of the Gambian parliament for 10 years. So I know the system and I know governance. Let me make that clear. But what happened? When President Jammeh left and we took over, what we did was we dissected ourselves. We reviewed the APRC and its operation. And then we tried to put in regulatory framework to prevent a recurrence of our weaknesses earlier on. That warranted us to go to Congress last December, where we had one of the most successful congresses in the Gambia, and where our work plans and everything, our manifestos and everything, were critically looked at and approved by the Congress, which is the highest organ of the party. So for us, with our experience in governance, and knowing our weaknesses and limitations, and of course our strengths, we believe sincerely that when next we come into government, we would by far serve Gambian people's interests and provide the necessary services independent they require.
All right. So let's go.
So
to,
yes,
yeah,
we have looked into ourselves,
yeah,
and we do agree that we have limitations.
yeah. Let's go to Dennis. Dennis, you have a question.
Yes. Thank you very much, sir. Indeed, you are a very good spokesman. I only hope I have a very good opportunity to sit down on the table with you and debate with you. But thank you so much. Now, let me ask you two short questions, and then I'll follow up with my main question. Okay? All right. So, Mr. Chairman, how would you feel right now in opposition if members of your party and journalists that are critical to President Barrow's government start getting mysteriously disappearing or being tortured in detention or killed in detention without any action taken or anybody held responsible for those actions by the Barrow government? How will you feel?
Okay.
I think that question should go back to journalists. We have been talking about some of those issues. I said earlier that when we were in government, just pointing at somebody, the international community will pick it up, journalists all over the world will pick it up, human rights institutions will pick it up, civil society organizations and institutions will pick it up. Why not now? It's the biggest question. We are almost one of the lone voices now that look at our issues and those whose rights have been violated. I told you earlier.
So that is,
Hold on.
so that is
our member was
Dennis, hold on. Let me finish, please. Go ahead, sir.
Yes, I told you earlier. Can you believe that our party funds have been frozen? Money that don't belong to Yahya Jammeh, we contributed it. Our party vehicles seized. We were pushed out of our offices. About 2 of our people have been shot. One was shot to death. No international outcry. Hardly do anybody talk about it. No investigations about them. No compensations about them. What's happening?
Okay.
This is the question that should go back to those journalists, human rights activists, international community, civil society organizations to answer. We on our part will stand by anybody, whether you are APRC or not, if your rights are flouted.
All right, Dennis, go ahead with your question, follow-up question you wanted to ask.
okay, well, yeah, well, actually, this question is not answered yet. Yeah, he's referring me to ask journalists, but I'm asking you as an opposition leader, what is your opinion about those kind of behaviors if they are consistently happening under this current government? I know journalists have a question to answer.
We condemn it.
Okay, good.
We condemn
All right,
it.
good. Now,
We
okay,
talk
good.
about it.
Now let me. Okay, good. That is very good that you condemn it because two wrongs cannot make a right. Now let me ask you this question, sir.
Yes.
Under your party's administration, under the leadership of Jammeh, I want to ask you a question. All right. So.
Okay.
Okay. Who did your government hold responsible for the execution? The African migrants who are trying to go into Europe, that traveled from Senegal into Gambia and got killed in Gambia. Who was held responsible by your government? What is the fate? Who was held responsible for the killing and disappearance of Solo Sanden of UDP when he was arrested during the protest for electoral reform? Who was held responsible or accountable for the execution in broad daylight of Dedra Haidara in 2004? Who was held responsible for what happened to Umar Barrow of SUD-FM in the year 2000? Who was held responsible, accountable for Chief Ibrahim Mane, arrested by your NIA agents? And Musa Saidi Khan, who was tortured, as well as Lamin Cham, editor of the Standard newspaper, who are responsible or who are held responsible by your government through an investigation for those disappearances and killings.
All right, give him a chance to answer. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for this very important questions. I will urge you to not to be emotional, and I will urge you for some of these things add the word alleged. You were not present. Now for the Ghanaians, for the 50 so-called Ghanaians who were murdered in the Gambia here, I said.
Oh, all right. We just lost him. Let me just bring him back. Hold on, guys. I am gonna bring him back and make sure he answered this question. Hold on. I don't know whether his phone is dying up or something, but it's just 59 minutes so far we've spent. All right. Okay. Mr. Jatta, are you here now?
Yes, I'm hearing now.
So sorry, we lost you. So go ahead.
Yeah. So thank you very much. As I said to him, let him add the word allegedly for Ghanaians.
Yeah.
Now, I am aware that this Ghanaian issue has been a subject matter between the then government of Ghana and the government of the Gambia. 2, the issue was even taken to ECOWAS. 3, as I said, I was a member of the Pan-African Parliament. And John the then president of Ghana, John Mahama, was a member of parliament then with me at the Pan-African Parliament. There was a period when he tried to introduce a motion on this particular issue, and we threw it out. Now, what is most interesting, let me just add this. What is most interesting about this scenario is that if you leave Senegal going to Europe, you cannot pass the Gambia. Anybody who knows a little bit of geography knows that anybody who leaves Dakar going to Europe cannot come to the Gambia. Two, at the very spot of the Gambia, where the alleged murder took place, is a place called Ghana Town. That Ghana Town is inhabited by Ghanaians for over 60 years. At prime land, along the ocean, in the greater Banjul area, Ghana Town. Ghanaians have lived there for over 60 years. Permanently, they are there. The name is Ghana Town. What would warrant us to go for other Ghanaians if we were to kill Ghanaians and not those people who are living in the Gambia, and nowhere else in West Africa or anywhere would you have Ghana Town anywhere, especially at a strategic area like that. So for that, it is a matter of, for us, the government should talk about it. They should find solutions. But for us, it is illogical. I cannot believe that people will just be killed. Gambia is the home of most West African neighbors, our neighbors. They are living here peacefully. What would warrant to kill over 50 people of other West African countries? But especially when they are leaving Dakar going to Europe. So for that question, I beg to differ, and as I said, this had been an issue with the Akufo government, was on top of issues. It was at ECOWAS, and I don't know the fate of it now. But to the best of my knowledge, and with my consent being dictated by my consent, I cannot understand how people going to Europe will come to the Gambia. If you leave the Gambia, you can go to Senegal going to Europe. But you cannot leave Dakar and come to Gambia going to Europe. Then you are going to West Africa. You are going to Guinea-Bissau, Sierra Leone, Ghana, and all these things. Two, we have Ghana Town, inhabited by Ghanaians, a big town, only Ghanaians. Why would we go for other Ghanaians? These are questions to be answered. The other thing,
yeah, go ahead.
The other one was Deda Hydra, isn't it? Am I right?
Yeah.
Deda Hydra, Solo Sandeng, Umar Baro.
Yeah, let's one by one. Let's not forget. Let's one by one.
Okay.
Deda Hydra. What I cannot understand about Deda. I know Deda Hydra was killed. By whom was the problem? And I don't know what Deda Hydra, why government will kill Deda Hydra. There were more vociferous journalists in the Gambia who were living in the Gambia. Deda Hydra then was not a very big critic of to the best of my knowledge. And what something interesting happened. One of the women who was to witness, who was seen to be a witness, was called upon, and she was evacuated to Senegal, and they never came. The government was interested to investigate the issue. It is an unfortunate incident, but remember, killings can come about from government. It can emanate from all other sources. So why is it that anybody who died is allegedly government? Anywhere in the world, there are killings that happen. Like today in the Gambia, a lot of killings are happening. Would you allege that it's government? So why do people quickly point to government? It is because in their psyche, they've seen the government or President Jammeh and labeled him as a dictator, a torturer, a killer, and all these things because he doesn't want to bow to their request, to the welfare of his people.
The other one.
So,
what about the journalist?
This man. No, the one. Solo Sunday, you said, isn't it? So
yeah, I think yes, yeah. Solo Sunday.
You said
UDP.
Yeah, UDP. Solo Sunday, isn't it?
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. You know, Solo Sunday, to the best of my knowledge, they were on a protest, an illegal protest. You cannot protest without a permit. And if you become violent, necessary force will be used to put you down. That's the law. All right? And I understand he was arrested and taken under custody and then died. He later died. That much I know. Now, the circumstances that led to his death will be the same as the Mr. Gomez who died, the man who died in prison recently. What's his name? Liz Gomez, the NIA, one of the NIA senior officials. He died in custody, but no comments are being made about that. Not one person is questioning what led to his death. So the circumstances that led to Solo Sunday's death, to be honest, I don't know. I don't know.
Was there any investigation?
I think it is my opinion that the circumstances that might have led to his death should be thoroughly investigated to know what led to his death.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. What about Umar Baru, the journalist from the FM SUD, who was killed while reporting during a student demonstration?
Oh, the April 10th, 11. That was the April 10th, 11. Yes,
Umar Baru.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can remember. They call it the April 10th, 11 demonstrations.
Yeah.
You know, the interesting thing about this particular one was the students were demonstrating, and some hooligans went to join them. Some people who were not students, criminals, and all sorts of people joined them, and it became very violent. To an extent that the security forces had to put it down, and some people lost their lives, unfortunately. But let me make this clear. Let me say this. At the time of those demonstrations, President Jammeh was not even in town. Even Solo Sunday's death, President Jammeh was out of Gambia. He was overseas when these things happened. So as I said, for whatever reason, I am of the opinion that incidences that might have led to torture, unnecessary torture, or illegal torture, or killing should be thoroughly investigated, and the culprits taken to task.
Yeah.
Then and now.
So now, Mr.
Jatta,
we just have one more person.
Almost all your answers are the same. So let's forget about the remaining
Mr. Dennis.
Yeah.
But one more question for you.
We have other people that wanted to ask questions. Mr. Baibure, hold on, Mr. Dennis.
Yes?
Mr. Baibure, you have a question for Mr. Jatta or no?
No.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Jatta, to round this up, first of all, I want to thank you very much for this wonderful, interview. I know I was in Gambia since 1996 to 1999, and I met Mr. Jammeh a couple of times when I was in Basse. I used to live in the Al Hassan refugee camp in Basse, and I know Mr. Jammeh. And what I wanted to say to all of the people that are listening here is, I'm not saying Mr. Jammeh is not a bad person. Everybody is not perfect, but the person I know, the kind of development that this guy, Mr. Jammeh, did in Gambia, that's why most of the time I, defended him. The only problem I had at the time was when you are a president or leader, you should not live forever, and that was my only problem. But in terms of development and in terms of this dictatorial, name that the Western society used to call Mr. Jammeh. I know exactly what that means for. And every leader of that continent, Africa, who doesn't want to bow down to the wishes of the Western society, you are a dictator. And that's the thing that I was trying to defend that. Well, Mr. Jammeh could be a dictator in the perspective of the Western society, but when you look at the African society, he was one of the best because I live with him. I know what he did, and I came from a country that is bigger and better than the Gambia. But the leadership was not too good when you compare that to Mr. Jammeh. And I just wish that Mr. Jammeh repent for the sins that he has committed, and at the same time, the Gambian people understand that Mr. Jammeh has done a lot of good things during the 22 years, and I want to thank him very much for giving you the opportunity to come and defend him and tell the world about the APRC. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much. My last words. Remember, Mobutu Sese Seko, one of the worst dictators, was a friend to the West.
Yeah, true.
Because he yielded to them.
Yeah.
And I am saying this. I want to thank you for giving me this opportunity also. And I want to say this, that Gambians, what happened during our time are still happening today. And I hope those who were shouting yesterday would shout today for the betterment of the Gambia and indeed Africa at large. Let's not leave leaders. Even if we come back, we want people to challenge us for whatever misdeeds we will commit, so we will be able to rectify them. Africa must come together and move forward. We cannot be the dancing ground for the West. We must be resolute. We must stand by ourselves. We must partner with everybody in the world on equal basis, and they try to map out strategies for the welfare of our own people. Africa is unfortunate that with all what Allah God has given us, we are imbued with talent, resources, one of the best climates, everything you can imagine. Because we are continually divided, that Africa cannot unite. Remember, we moved from the OAU to the AU with the belief that Africa will be unified. But they are coming in again. We have a lot of challenges.
Yep.
Hardly could African leaders see eye to eye, all because of the West. So we want to challenge all Africans, both here and the diaspora, to ensure that our leaders come together despite their differences, map out collective strategies for the betterment of our continent. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir.
Alhamdulillah.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Jatta. And as we are all here, we come back to Creole because since now foreigners, so we've been talk by English, now we transfer back to Creole for let we do some analysis. And looking at, I think say people like Denise, it been come late, it not been there when the man been talk about all the things that we Yahya Jammeh do. But I think one of the things where I give credit to this guy, he willing for accept say yes there were mistakes that then do as a government, which every government they do, and we get a lot of governments that we don't do a lot of mistakes them. But when it comes the term dictatorship, in a more political context rather than a geopolitical context, you get for find out say anybody where the Western society say this is not dictator, you get for think and sit down and look why is he a dictator. Because the Western society they not get dictator. Now interest then get. As long as you say yes sir to them, it doesn't matter. If you kill your people there, now your own business one day. But the moment you say no, and then begin label you this or that. Well, today when I look at Gambia, Adama Barrow they do well, very well. But today, based on what they understand, because certain so much demonstration don't take place, people say, well, you know what? Maybe we have to look more for bring people that we actually get the interest of the country. After country supposed to look after young people, not for satisfy outside. Today, Adama Barrow is satisfying Senegal. Eddie Bangura, I think, is not late. I'm not going to call you again. It's too late now. Would they end up this, Eddie Bangura? I'm not going to call you again. So this Naya, they try for talk.
Abu,
Okay, but
make a comment.
Okay. Well, hold on. Una they make comments. Una all they make comments. By God's power. I just want to make some kind of a monologue before we come to the commentary. You know, what are they trying for talk about? The Western country need for look after the young people. The most important thing, we don't live in this country, the United States of America. America, you really look for any other person but in your own people. We were now citizens of the America. America, did they call me again? I thought America, did they on? Oh, I don't know. America, no, it's like say they only the countries that they look after the young people. We are always going to be.
Please leave your message for.
Well,
Ahmed Kanu.
It is still the time for call me. They try for call her. And I'm not going able to answer you call Americano until you put off your phone. And if they watch we, don't call. You know, say na the Lord that one day Naya will not accept automatic call. I will call you. Another power day, because in a human being, it do a lot of bad. The problem where Yahya Jammeh get, just like quoting Mr. Jatta been talk about, Yahya Jammeh came from one of the smallest or the most minority tribe now.
One brown rice or white rice?
Okay, Americano, mute your phone. Americano, mute your phone or they put you down. So it came from.
You want any more commentary from me?
Yeah, well, if you're not able to make commentary, so you can just hang up. Mute your phone.
I get commentary.
Okay, well, just mute your phone until we can have the commentary. Are they round up now? Now, what are they been trying for talk about? People like Mr. Kabo, I think they don't live in Gambia for some time. The Jola, the person Mr. Kabo been talk. Now one of the minority tribe in that country with them. And Gambia gets one certain things na their own tribal stuff. The Mandinkas, where na the majority, they not believe say any minority person from they come from that tribe they for can lead them. This na the problem where Yahya Jammeh been get. How many coups where Yahya Jammeh don't survive? Some of who we been in Gambia we know. In fact, the other attempted coup now we them go surround because them just feel same. We are the refugee there because we come on our power. Sometimes we get rebel around us. So sometimes now we go, now we the one for use for instigate that coup. Then go surround it later. Yahya Jammeh say no, I'm not facing them people then do. So these are some of the things. Yahya Jammeh don't do a lot of mistakes. Now that make I ask Jatta say, he not go tell me say Yahya Jammeh for the past 23 years, you know why they do mistakes, and he accepts yes there are so many mistakes that we don't do. But then one for reform and rebuild and look at the problems the way they been get before. If they get for power again, if they get for power again, not through Yahya Jammeh, but the party as a whole, then go able look at the mistakes the way they do, then go able to change that. Now let's go to the commentary. Let's start with Mr. Abdul. Mr. Abdul, your comment.
First of all, Mr. Makota, I want to commend this guy. He's very articulate. I mean, he's a straight shooter. He's a politician as well, if I may add. So I commend him for come and be as candid as he can be. But what impressed me mostly is when this man so eloquently talked about the 37 years of Dawda Jawara, where even a university and other development they don't be in Gambia. So perhaps for verifying it to go able to authenticate that because we not be the Gambia. That for only when the government come, Jammeh come, that development they come. I think Jammeh forget kudos to that. I think but the problem I make ask the question, I think Jammeh as along with him Pan-Africanism where the man they talk about, it not only alienates the white man, from Africans then back along the line. That is why what happened
Mr. Abdul, hold on. I want to make because a lot of people they don't understand what happened. The confusion where they between Yahya Jammeh and Senegal, where caused this neighborhood where they talk about. You know, say there is a place in Senegal called Casamas, where they don't fight for over 30 years, where they try for break away from Senegal. And in Casamas, most of the people that went at the Casamas, now the Jola people them, because now Yahya Jammeh, they come out, now the border between Casamas and Gambia. So Yahya Jammeh, because the Casamas, Najola, most of them Najola, Yahya Jammeh, they support the rebels them. This is not the problem this way come between Yahya Jammeh and Senegal. I just want to make it clear. Go ahead.
Okay.
We're not hear you. We're not hear you, Mr. Abu. We're not hear you. Italian said.
Hear me now?
You
hear me now?
Yeah, now they hear you.
Hello?
Okay. Yeah, we hear you.
Okay. So and on the issue of what this man talked about the Western influence, any African who is well educated, they don't believe say the Western world interfere into that. I mean, I hate to tell you this, you can talk, but I don't get the opportunity and the privilege.
You go in and out. You go in and out. Maybe some side where you dey where the signal not good. Maybe you can see on some side where signal good. We're not hearing Mr. Abu. Okay. Try go sit on some side where you get better signal. Now we go first to Mr. Kabo before they bring you come back. Go ahead, Mr. Kabo.
Yeah. It's good to talk about the Gambia because it's got a little similarities, and we all know the Gambia is from West Africa. When we look at Sierra Leone today and the Gambia, we can establish a relationship, both colonial and present. My commentary on the Gambia today, with regards to this interview where Mr. Jatta gave and the answers we get from that, is that it is common in Africa for make people and depose a ruler, a president, or vote against a president and get him out, and at the same time, the new government they perform as compared to the previous government, and the people there will be a lot of outcry, and people will cry for that particular government to come back.
Yep.
I know Yahya Jammeh has done tremendously very important things that the Gambia development and restore the dignity of the people of the Gambia as Africans as a whole. And in doing so, the Western world will be at your neck.
Yep.
There are traditions that we have, which we believe, and as I'm talking to you in the United States of America, that the Western world is trying to shove into the throats of our people in Africa to accept. To shove them. When I say shove, I mean forcing them to accept them.
Yep.
And any president who stands against them, it's going to be a big problem.
Yep.
So that's the problems Jammeh face. And if I'm correct, I'll say Yahya Jammeh is the Gaddafi of West Africa.
Well, you hear what Mr. Jatta say. He say the problem with Yahya Jammeh, this Pan-Africanism, where he puts in his head everything African first, now in the problem.
Correct. And you know very well, any ruler, apart from being a president, even a government that is left on its own without being presided, there are incidents that will be happening. People will die, presidents will die, journalists will die, reporters will die, and students will die, because life is life. It's meant to be death. People have to die. But the only problem I have is what kind of death the person die, and when you actually be in a government at any point in time, anything happens, just like Mr. Jatta rightly puts it, they blame you. Mm-hmm. But they feel that people should not die when you are in power, and things happening should not be taking place, strikes should not be taking place. It happens all over the world. People die.
Yep.
It all depends how he died, and it could be coincidence. And sometimes the government have no idea, and they cannot control it because it's natural. All right? So in that light, Yahya Jammeh had a tough role to play.
Yep.
Especially when the West was against him. And remember also, if you go back to the history of the Gambia, Gambia is one of the smallest states in West Africa. And if you look at it, it's been engulfed by Senegal. Mm-hmm. It's just like we used to say Gambia is the tongue, Senegal is the mouth. You just go inside there. It's like it's swallowing it. So it's not easy for Gambia to survive or Senegal to have Gambia. And we all know the situation or whatever they call it, the Senegambia time. And Gambia pull over. That will not appease the Gambians. I mean, the Senegalese, they will not be happy about the Gambians to be on their own because they always want to rule them. So, of course, so Gambia is faced with these enemies around them, I could say. Senegal is not as far with, in good terms with Gambia. And just like we say, a fraction of the Gambia, Casamas, and so on and so forth, where the Jolas came from, all those things. And what's so much, the Mandinga or Mandingo, I don't know which is the right one, they are the majority in the Gambia. Mm-hmm. And there are people who are very stubborn and very proud. And I appreciate that for them being proud of their culture. And to see somebody, a Jola, because a Jola in the Gambia actually was especially the majority, 99% of the people who live in the Gambia as Jolas are maids, housemaids.
Yeah, where does this live?
So they don't have a guard there. They don't have. I hire 4 housemaids in my house. They are all Jolas. Before I left the Gambia, I spent 4 years there. Every year I have a new housemaid. It's easy to get them, and the people don't respect them because they are made. They said there was a saying in the Gambia: before I be Jola, let me be this. You know, let me die. We had all those sayings from the Gambia. I mean, from the Wolof, the Mandinga or the Mandingos. You know, so it's kind of a tough situation with the Gambia. But what I can tell you about the Gambia is the Gambia is so developed during the time of Yahya Jammeh's regime that you cannot compare it. As he even himself mentioned, over 150 years of colonial rule or under the British government. Gambia developed so much. And it created awareness. And it takes back their dignity, which they have lost. So it's unfortunate that democracy, which is preached by the people of the Western world, has no boundary. That is to say, even if you are the best president, they will not allow you to govern over 2 terms or so. Yahya Jammeh will come back to the Gambia, that I know for sure, but he will not be president of the Gambia. That's 100% assurance I'll give you. He will never.
I agree with you.
Be president of the Gambia again. His party is going to be in power. The AFRC or the APRC.
Yeah.
His party is going to be functioning, but he himself will never be president of the Gambia again because democracy doesn't allow that. And I think the mistake also he made.
Mr. Kabo, before we go out of time, I want to bring other people there. But what I want to say, most of these attempts here, this truth and reconciliation, the governments don't realize probably the APRC, not necessarily Yahya Jammeh, but the APRC may have gained more momentum, especially this past protest where they go on boldly na the streets of Banjul. Then say there will be a big problem. So then they make sure then try for suppress then kind of thing then leaders then did. And just like what Mr. Jatta said, but I give you 30 seconds for making conclude quickly, then we go to the next person.
Yeah, Yahya Jammeh will come to the Gambia, will not be president again of the Gambia.
Yep.
And unfortunately, that's what democracy says. That's why I asked Mr. Jatta what kind of democracy they practice, because Yahya Jammeh has gone up to 4 terms. And as good as he was, I praised him, he was a very good leader. He was actually an African leader, meant for the Africans. And that's why the Western world were against him, because he's meant for the Africans. And that's what he did. He did so much so that because of democracy, it's not allowed, he cannot. And after he spent his first 10 years or first 8 years, he was, there was that kind of understanding with the Western world. But after he went to 3 times, 4 times, it's all gone. And that will be definitely referred to him as a dictator.
All right.
And that's the only problem I have. He should have not gone over the limit of the 2 terms. But again, the people needed him, and he was a good guy. Unfortunately, that was the rules.
I agree with you. Now, let's go to Mr. Americano. Americano, go ahead. Ahmed Kanu. Okay. Ahmed Kanu muting phone. Let me go to Dennis. Dennis, go ahead.
I'm on now. I'm on.
Okay. Dennis, hold on. Ahmed Kanu, go ahead.
Me, as far as I know, Yahya Jammeh in leadership na the Gambia, it too much. I don't think safe it na the Gambia again. It go even one for the president.
I don't believe so either.
Because he don't do a lot, and the people them I not think say they go be ready for him anymore. So if that man, Mr. Jatta, then at the program, say now, I think says for advice, Mr. Jammeh, if he come back, let he just find a place where he go there, let him not cause no trouble. If he don't be careful, let he eat what he get.
Well,
that comment
Mr. Kanu, no more. Mr. Kanu, let me tell you one thing. I believe say Yahya Jammeh no go on for be president again at that place there. And if you remember, I asked Mr. Jatta about that. He said that's not the people their own responsibility. For if they want to fine, if they don't want to, not a problem. Because then get what they call elections, the primaries, that they don't stop. The problem with Yahya Jammeh, where he gets Yahya Jammeh, 90% of waiting he don't accumulate. Now inside Gambia, he investor. All in investment they are inside Gambia. So you just want for take care of their investment and they but Yahya Jammeh no they can Gambia until APRC come back na power. So that's not the bone of contention. Go ahead.
That's all. I'm done.
All right, thank you very much. Now, Dennis.
All right, okay. This now Dennis I do the anti-Jammeh man. Yeah. In the first place, your chairman did not even answer my questions. One, I not talk say like Jammeh be the killer people in this. I say, would that as a responsible government, when you don't have a country, journalists they criticize the government and they disappear, then they die, then they lost, and they die in detention. For 22 years or for 18 years or for 15 years, so that person they lost, they die in detention. You don't hold anybody accountable. What does that tell you? The man say, well, because circumstances of that man in death, we don't know. That's where they for thoroughly investigate. Really? After the man don't die over 10 years, without the power? You as chairman and head of the parliament of the party majority leader, you don't know the circumstances really for that man in death, and when the government not investigate, and when they tell me say Jammeh not be a good leader, what does good leader mean? For they just make roads, for they build infrastructure, then a good leadership, and you oppose, you kill anybody when they're against you openly. Then we follow Jammeh. Jammeh did in let it in na Gambia what they commend for. But in the case of West Africa, not only Ghanaians and die, Ivorians were there, Nigerians were there.
But
the Ghanaians not the
what you don't understand, you know the circumstance where they die.
Hold on, me come. Let me ask because the man when they in a power, let me explain how. People they know girls go die in a country, go execute them, you as government, you don't take no action for investigate and give report to the world. Then they know what happens. If that happens, they will hold it for complicity. Abu.
All right.
They will hold it for complicity.
Mr. Dennis.
So I'm not doing it too.
Let me explain.
I'm not doing it. Me I don't, sir.
Well, I think so. So I will give you a chance for making it. I just because sometimes I can forget. Let me just give you a little brief of what make that guy they be not be one for can talk a little bit about that because we know them people then they what happen. Waiting some of we be understand who be in Gambia, what will be understand the Ghanaians way go get this problem. Now a kind of mercenaries. Actually, now the government says cause that problem they according to what we understand. Now kind of mercenaries them, you know, yeah, like I say, Yahya Jammeh don't survive a lot of coups them. You understand? Those people were actually hired specifically when now that make the man tell you say how did they go? If they go na Europe, anybody who know Gambia and Senegal, if you want to go na Europe, you know they can't na Gambia again. You know, because you know go Europe, except you want to take plane. No. But go ahead. I just want to make you know
Abu,
could something will happen.
Abu, I know the circumstances why they kill them, man. They kill them because they feel they are mercenaries. That I know.
Okay.
I know you put us to another way. You understand? I know they kill them. And they kill them.
Yeah.
But my point is, if you not handle the inside, what you them do as a government for find out who that kill them? That was my question to him. Me know the circumstance we made the man go under, or what be the allegation. But if when them die, what do you do? Then most of the people use one name, Solo Sanden, we disappear. Dela Hedra, Umar Baru, Ibrahim Mane. Most of the cases they can't go to ECOWAS court. They can't go to ECOWAS court. They may be mass their foot day. They say they're not a good day. And no action will take place inside the country within day. And these are prominent journalists, prominent politicians, them that they lost under your watch and then they criticize you. What if you say the outside world, even within the Gambia, they will think about you?
True, I agree with you.
As being a human rights abuser. You understand? That make I ask her, I say, who are the whole responsible? What are the circumstances of them dead than they? He cannot answer those questions. It's not what they need to investigate. Really? Who is going to investigate that? After the children have been 10 years under your watch, they're not one. Then in the case of Senegal, believe you me, it was no hidden secret. Just like I say, that was my second question to him. For make I go say, I will ask him the relationship between the Jammeh government and the Casamance rebellion. Jammeh was openly supporting the Jolan and Casamance.
Yeah.
Becoming again independent.
Yep.
He was openly supporting them. How you feel say, what do you make you say Chancellor can go war as Sierra Leone? Because you feel say, we do something, we support ECOMOG for good deploying in Liberia.
I agree with you.
You understand?
And that was the problem.
So you know where I said, exactly. So you know where I said, Chancellor, for be friendly to Sierra Leone, where would they send troops there with the type of destabilize a movement? Now they said to the Casamance. So for Senegal, it was an opportunity for me to play a leading role in ECOWAS, for me to remove Jammeh, when they are the next day neighbor, where he can't lie the share border with Casamance and they support them.
Well, let me give you a quick story because what think happen? This guy, Tambasama something, I forget what in your name, we be one for overthrown Yahya Jammeh. Where they arrest them, Senegal actually sent troops na Gambia, then use their own parachute troopers for making them Canada the airport, Yundomi airport. So this tension between Senegal and Yahya Jammeh, it don't dey from the beginning, for a very long time it don't dey. So I agree with you. That was the problem where Yahya Jammeh been get because na in your family, like what Mr. Jatta say, anybody waiting in Gambia, he get relative na Senegal, either na Casamance or the other side, then get relative. Now the same people them. So this na kind of entanglement, But go ahead for making complete.
Last comment. Last comment. I can wrap up. The other thing again, you see, where I consider they listen to, like that chairman, then about to even you comment after the chairman don't go, and they really feel say Africa. We do so because of your attitude. Because if we're not trying to identify our own problem and resolve them, we blame the white man all the time, then we are in deep hole. We are in deep hole. And no wonder why Donald Trump, they say, we na shit hole with it.
Well,
we want to wait money creator for we.
Well, me
want to wait money creator. I will say the creator. Because people are so saddened. In Peking, them run away, go Senegal. Up to this day, they are crying for their papa in dead body. They are crying for their papa in dead body. And then the people that were talking about wait man and then they push them on a wait. No, wait man businesses. You cannot treat your African brother like that. And then when they talk, it's not now wait man and they instigate. That is the mon ami.
Dennis, first of all, if you listen to me with a monologue, now exactly what they talk, I had the time for talk. Until Africa look after Africa, you take care of your own people. Them, there is no way we'll be able to succeed because all the time, you know why the Western society they able Africa, because all the time, yes sir, this mental slavery we don't indoctrinate you with yes sir. Where white man talk, if a black man say this egg. Na man chicken in the born. We say yes sir. If na black man and say look at na crazy don't crazy. So how you know? That's that mental slavery. Then they na the problem. And if you get people that like Yahya Jammeh, when me sabi very well for say Yahya Jammeh na being fanatic when it comes to Pan-Africanism. now be fanatic, it not been like, especially Britain, because now Britain colonized them, it not been like them at all. No sign of the way Jammeh they make a speech without, they end up with this Pan-Africanism, colonialism. I think that one day again are the problem.
Abu, nobody not gonna be Pan-Africanist. Nobody not gonna be Pan-Africanist compared to the Ghana Burkina Faso. You understand? I don't know the guy name. That leader, that spiritual leader, the key.
Thomas Sankara.
Yes, Sankara. Yes, Thomas Sankara.
Nobody
not will be Pan-Africanist.
You know, see what they
nobody not going to be Pan-Africanist with Rollins. Nobody know how they come. May I say one example is what the comparison between the Jammeh. But you see what he makes Thomas Sankara up to today, in people that honor, because he need to come up against the West, but it treats people are like angels. It treats them like angels. It get them involved in what they do. It maybe they know say they are humans. It not be they touch a position like that. You see? The same with
Dennis
Rollins.
Dennis, I want to make you wouldn't call a little bit and understand say African leaders, it depends the way them propagate you stuff now the media. But no African leader no they they do bad things to people them.
No, of course not they. Nobody not they because nobody not perfect.
Hold on. Because at time like say the way they talk about Yahya Jammeh in bad one, if you like say there is no other person in Africa where you don't bad pass Yahya Jammeh, and that's not the problem that one the way I get with you, because number one, we don't sit down with Yahya Jammeh, we don't see in rule for 4 years. Hold on. We don't see Yahya Jammeh in rule for 4 years. We go tell you for free, understand? Yahya Jammeh, it gets in your bad side. There is no way me the snap in the public, I go tell you say Yahya Jammeh a good person all the way. No. But when you look at other leaders them, you understand? You compare that with Yahya Jammeh. I swear to God, the problem where Yahya Jammeh gets mostly where in bad don't go too much now because they bow down at all. Now that one day, whether you agree with that or not, but go ahead.
Abu. Yeah, we always discuss Jammeh. We know that leaders they will go discuss. We even tell you say the more brutal past Jammeh in Africa. Well, if we still discuss them, we'll discuss them. But we don't get an opportunity for them to discuss them. We discuss Gambia because they're very close to we. You don't stay there, and most times till they come up, we'll get for discuss about Gambia. But believe me, I get that dictators in Africa who can discuss whether it was the Jammeh. And I hate all of them.
One day, I
hate all of them.
One day, tell me now West Africa, who's possible where you call a dictator?
No, because we don't get the opportunity yet. Now TPN for not discuss.
No. Outside of TPN, today we want to make you tell we say this person is more brutal, just like Yahya Jammeh or more than Yahya Jammeh. Tell me now West Africa who's possible where you today identify somebody.
Not only West Africa. I didn't give us let's say Africa. You understand?
Yeah, okay.
Even Kigami, a brutal dictator where they kill people in your position. In fact, not only inside Kigali or Rwanda, it even change there internationally. They don't kill opponents. They don't escape to South Africa.
So what about Uganda? You are a Museveni, now dictator.
But you don't wait for me. You don't wait for me. Of course he is.
So if a dictator, why you not come out and talk them people that because and the people that we don't kill over 150,000 people. Now they young people them 150,000 people. But no one they talk about that quite often.
Because we don't get the opportunity for discussing Jammeh.
Anyway,
yeah,
that's fine.
But
people that they call dictators.
Because we don't get the opportunity for discuss Jammeh. If we get the opportunity to wait until time up, somebody post something about Uganda, Museveni or anything like that, and they step in, you can have a bunch of record about that. You only can't get other dictators. A lot.
Okay.
What is about Museveni, Kigali, and others there? A lot.
Okay. Yeah.
You understand? Maybe Equatorial Guinea, which Jammeh don't go hide. Equatorial Guinea. I have a lot of those here on that guy in brutal killing of people there.
Well, now go they spread that message there to the Africans and say, hey, this person a dictator, this person a dictator, this person a dictator. Not only the one way the media they try for let we know, even though we know say there are other people there. For example, Ugandan president, you know say that a darling for the United States.
Abu. Abu,
Yeah.
Abu, me and I don't let dictate. I don't let me. I don't care. Build all the skyscrapers in the country. You understand?
Okay.
But respect the human lives. Don't get involved in anything because they oppose you. There are so many ways in power. We came for diminish your opponent without killing the opponent.
I agree. I totally agree with
a
you.
lot. So many ways for diminish her without killing the opponent.
One life, the loss
them.
of one life is a loss of many lives. So down there, me and you agree on that. So I agree with that. The only problem I get with you is it seems like Yahya Jammeh is the monster now West Africa. So because now all the time now we they attack for sin society. But anyway, now we go to Abdul again. Mr. Abdul, I think say you're okay now with your phone. Mr. Abdul.
Hey,
yeah, go ahead.
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
No, what have been the point have been a chance for talk when you've been the talk about the international community for third world country. Now I've been a chance for no more, and I know say Pandi Forum, you and Denise don't get that back and forth. Denise for understand say when the international community, if Denise for look at history, if not so for the international community, then pressure. I think say Kwame Nkrumah probably for being ruled Ghana longer than the rule.
Yeah.
Patrice Lumumba for being ruled Congo longer than where he did it. I mean, history they tell us something. Yep. Fidel Castro, how many assassination way undergo through American imperialism. So that has just been the try for 3 years. Which this man thought, yeah, partly it may not be 100%. But if he is 80% correct, that Jammeh faced a lot of pressure from the Western world, and even us, it all happened to we, in Sierra Leone. You talk to an average Sierra Leonean right now, they could tell you, say, the Madabio win the election as a result of the interference of the British in Sierra Leone.
Abu, do you allow time close the problem? No, what a side. I
agree, Mr. Abdul.
I agree totally. So if I say,
they will require the they can't call Jesus now without they answer you.
Okay. When the international community bend on say we don't want this person, now that they happen.
Oh yeah.
Jenny's brother Obama, now we left office, he apologized, say it was a mistake to go to Libya because now Western influence me. Otherwise Gaddafi would have still been there ruling the people of Libya. So I agree with you this part that as a result of the pressure because Jammeh listened to him on interviews, his bellicose statements, them, Bagadosia, some of it, I'm not hesitant to say it, that I believe for being able to withstand the internal pressure, for the forfeit. Arrow not for being able Joseph, they called for in Common One. He go then as Senegal because I believe they go free. And Jammeh for being able to get the forces then we go any demonstration had he wanted to stay in power. After that election we congratulate the man say, don't we? But now a combination of the ECOWAS and this Western power. And ECOWAS is as a result, as I said earlier on, I think it burned the bridge along the line, simultaneously the Western world and in broader African heads of state.
Mr. Abdul, let me give you an example. Like what Mr. Jatta say, the coup will be happen, the recent coup before Yahya Jammeh come up power, right? Where then guys
yes, I remember. Where did they out of the country, sir?
Yeah, well, imagine, the guy where they arrest now, then convict him. Like what Jatta say, after this president's going he win Barrow, the guy in Gambia.
See?
So let's see no more now.
Yes.
Go ahead.
So Mr. Dennis, for the begin take your advice, I wanted to say, even though you are law for say the Western world get a lot of but Dennis not go buy that until we make him and we turn out the West press. Come on. I don't know how they could say that and they say no, come on.
No, well, make I tell you now one thing. You see, me no say Western influence. Then they spread the tentacles everywhere where they get interest. You understand?
Like
because of their own what of things where they go on among themselves. As a result, they do things there. But we get for realize say we the Africans, them, not like any other country, we're not an island. Would they work hand in hand with other international governments then and donors then? And United Nations, when we are part of them, including the Gambia, you understand? They get all the human rights group them, they get all of this, they even within the country themselves. When you suppress people so much, my man, they will decide to bounce back because when you go push somebody to the wall.
That the same how they call I don't know how to describe and how the council. The United Nations, the human rights organization at the United Nations. You know where they leader right now? You know where they leader?
Abu, make a door. I don't not dictate to the leader. Make a door. Yeah.
Okay.
What they type of talk? What they type of talk? When they do all of this with mass pressure, Western pressure. When not any factor into consideration the locals of the people and what they endure and what you know what lead to the election day? The amount of protest, massive protest, what will they take place? What lead before that thing day? So now Western influence all the people now what they undergo the suppression. When we want a change of government, when they left it out, don't let what happen in Sudan. Sudan again, when I want to say that people they don't suffer, they die. Now with my influence when they go through that. Let us take into consideration the people and what they undergo. They can suppression and then they rise for themselves. Why only the West?
Dennis, who's the election now and the way they talk about say?
Let me ask you a question, Mr. Dennis. Don't you think
the election 2 years back with Jammeh?
No, probably you know what's happening. In fact, Yahya Jammeh exclusively na in sponsor that election day because he been believe say they win the election. Na in sponsor them. So for say. If the international community not being not itself. In fact, he say election must go because again for go to the mandate of the people. He been get the confidence. So I don't think you understand about somebody want to ask you a question. Go ahead.
No, Mr. Dennis, the question I want to ask you really. Let me say, if you were to be sent to Saudi Arabia right now, of which when you conduct a poll day like which they call hidden camera. You don't believe, say, Mr. Dennis, with all your intelligence, probably 80% of the people of Saudi Arabia, that country, they don't want the system of government where they want now. And if that is the case, why for more than 15 years, they have succumbed to one grand family. One family, the Abu Mankota family, ruling them year after year. Look at all what is happening. And now a recent case with the killing of this journalist, where an American president on national television say, hey, bro, we know how much money would they get, so it no matter if they kill all people now for people there. So then is the argument is it for say the international community now the internal people then go themselves go get one or two things. Or without the backing of the international community, it's not gonna go anywhere. It's not to go anywhere. Look at what is happening now in Venezuela, our next door neighbor. Because Saudi Arabia is far from America, which I mean Venezuela is closer. Look at what is happening. Because you have now two world powers, Russia is backing one, and America is backing another one. It did not don't pass 3 months so today. They have a
so what is your question for me?
Okay, my question to you is now I ask you so. You think say like Saudi Arabia had not been for the power of the United States, you don't think say the internal people and further unseat that government there? The local, the Saudis.
Well, let me tell you that I know we will answer that because that is a hypothetical question. I know we will answer direct.
No.
It is hypothetical. And hypothetical question. My opinion I will give. Not to based on facts. My opinion I will give.
Okay.
You understand?
Okay.
My opinion is in the first place. Let me get it straight. Saudi Arabia is not a democratic state, not a kingdom. You understand? So one family, now a kingdom then gets. So they know say this is our culture. This is our culture. They may want some reforms in the country. If he ask me, if they would make one reform under that country, they absolutely maybe even at 80% it's too low. It will be more than that. A reform. But the system of government, one tribe, one family, that is a culture where they don't develop as a kingdom.
No.
You understand? And not keep on there.
Mr. Dennis,
Just like how
Saudi Arabia,
in
not the only
Britain,
country
where they
not
get,
only-
where they get the queen,
Mr. Dennis?
the monarchy na UK. You understand?
Mr. Dennis?
But then it's not only Saudi Arabia. If you go back and read the history of Iraq, what used to be called Babylon,
Yeah.
you know, not the same monarchy then began. Iran, you know about the story of the Shah of Iran, where they overthrow the man where they then bring the Shah. So I think the word their kingdom are just a cover. All them countries today, I mean, they're all. I mean, so
it depends. That day it depends. It depends on the ruling family. For men, say, you know what? Why
you believe
No, it's not ruling family.
Why you believe say the ruling family can get the ultimate
no,
say?
Dennis,
And
it's not.
in
Iraq,
Africa,
the king,
you say that the people
in
that
Iraq,
supposed to
the
get
king
the
was
ultimate say.
overthrown. In Iraq, the king was overthrown. In Iran, you see what happened. It is not the royal family. No, that is not the case. I think the bottom line is what would they say? Perhaps at the joint WhatsApp and this thing. If the international community, you fall out of with them. What happened in Mobutu, where that man he referenced this on. Mobutu was the darling of the Western world after he took Lumumba. But as time goes on, instead begin the barrage here and there, and the public sentiment begin to mount. Then what happened? Out of power. So until you are able to buy you continuously challenge the Western world, where they're not going to want that, you go in at the
believe you me. Make I tell you this. Believe you me. If you as a leader, I don't type of dispute Western influence that affects developing countries there. But you as a leader, me and probably what I get with dictators. You do your homework well with your people. If you do your homework well, believe me, the Western world they will try. Sometimes they will even succeed, but there will be a difficult task for them. Do your homework well. Be nice to your people.
Dennis?
But don't be like a dictator because you can give people
Dennis, I have to be fair. I have to be sincere with you. The problem where you get with Yahya Jammeh is mostly you not actually talk to Gambians then we live under Yahya Jammeh. There are a lot of them where they criticize Yahya Jammeh, not because of the killing way they talk about so. Now because some of we in Gambia, they tell you for free. You understand? The Mandinkas, those Mandingos them. Mr. Kabo, no. Them Mandingos then some of them then they tell you say Yahya Jammeh na heaven he bring come. Na a slave not they rule them. So they don't develop that perception there. So there is no way you when one day go na Banjul for make you go see what Yahya Jammeh do. You understand it? Today if Gambia the bluff of university.
Abu, I don't like when they talk this because I don't go like Gambia, so that I don't know much about Gambia. No.
Well, you go know.
You see what you don't see what Abu, that guy they talk about Iraq, they talk about Saudi Arabia. I don't think they don't ever go there, but you know how they operate. You don't need to be there. We are in a group of village, Abu.
Well,
I don't even want to Gambia for make a added column. And I still emphasize this. Jammeh did a whole lot of good things in that country where I appreciate him. A whole lot.
But who's come monster now where you so hate Jammeh? Anything, you know they talk now this recent time where I don't begin pressurizing, now I begin to see they talk a little bit about Jammeh. Before you said that Bush
Abu, the point is when you are in governance, especially when you become a military man, you decide for transition into a civilian for 2 terms, then you tamper with the constitution for prolongate you governance. You understand? You understand? Of course not.
Yeah, but remember,
once you begin
Dawda Jawara, he ruled the country for 37 years.
No, I mean, Abu.
I will draw Dennis your attention to one thing.
Go ahead.
Well, what I want to make to consider why the West, you don't talk about the system, on a monarchical system of government in India and Saudi. But the world over, the 21st century, would they move from monolithic to pluralistic society.
Exactly.
Why the West they drag their foot for mobilize the people in Saudi instead and they allow the same family for perpetrate or she don't pay the people for donkey years.
Yep.
Why the West silent? Why the West don't talk nothing about that?
Make I tell you one thing. Yeah, we're not to get me wrong. I don't talk and I say the West, then they spread the tentacles, who side and get influence and they get interest.
But you say
yeah,
don't blame them.
Hold on, I'm not against all of that. But my problem with you guys is we don't have to blame them for everything we brother they do bad to each other. That is my problem. Anything brother they do bad to people them. Oh no, now white man. Oh, people the right. Oh now white man the influence on the.
Dennis.
Oh now white man the influence with the right.
Yeah,
that is my problem with you guys.
Even white man just don't do bad things. You just know why they tell you. So like you one example. What white man don't do bad? Where mother be on now? We not a white man country.
Huh? Yes.
Mother be
Yes,
not why they go ahead na Britain. Now you go back. So the bad thing a white man na fault.
And Makota, you know what I say? Makota, you know what I say? They say Guy Warrington, we been the give the information at Britain, which the British Prime Minister say no, the British government information say APC no win an opposition SLPP matter for win. You don't say they don't pull a free turn and they don't tell and go to Mali because their intelligence tell them say if it's still there 2023 problem might happen. So but if you go Salon Yard then say bo APC no loss now Britain make less SLPP win the election. So now Western influence and why APC not fair because they cannot challenge the Western power.
This is unfortunately follow the thing so that the Western power that they be made an small with 2012.
Yes.
Western power that they be made an small with 2007.
Yes.
Western power that they made SFB win 2002.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So we not the two election there. Let the Western go to choose with president for we.
Okay.
So that is exactly what you guys are saying.
Okay, Dennis.
That is exactly what you guys are saying. That is unfortunate.
We just try for pulling leg anyway. Anyway, guys, would I get the last thing for now we round up?
The last one they say no more is that by the grace of God forever, Jammeh no go smell the corridors of power that country.
No, I mean I agree with you. They not do again or else and they kill and they so then I agree with you. It's done.
Yeah, but what do you mean last week, Mr. Mankota, like what you they talk with Mr. Dennis, the Western power said they have influence, but not necessarily most times they succeed.
Yeah.
If you ask to only government people and we not you want talking, but privately they will tell you say if in hindsight they look back, they wish they not be ever going to Iraq and Libya because them places they need them be stable. Today, you ask the Libyan people, they will tell you the days of Gaddafi were much better.
Yeah.
Even though not be a dictator, but then they live peacefully, then they enjoy. You come on a university without even having a job. Gaddafi, they pay you, they eat. Now you go say they go look for a job. But all because of Western influence saying that Gaddafi is bad, because in Libya, they show the thing and now what did they happen today? They wish this enough for me happen. And that's why when our brother Obama, on leaving office, he said he wished enough for be ever involved. The U.S. military was not involved, but the tacit endorsement where he give NATO through France, now he make what happen today where he knows he say they involved there and he knows say now he'll be involved. Now fast forward to Iraq and now look at what is happening where they brew now. So you not necessarily all the time now in there you succeed. Now Africa no more way because like what this man talk similar thing like what Gigami say, we get everything, but we are even begging the Western power for things that we already don't get. Just because we get selfish and wicked leader them, we don't get the interest of them people.
I agree with you.
Thank you.
I agree with
Thank you.
And to round up
Anyway,
this,
Abu, anytime you talk like Chairman, tell say again, kudos. He's a good spokesman.
Yeah.
It's a bit twisting it for Jammeh. I like a bad.
But if now, okay, that's fine. I know I'm for continue for pulling leg again. In my brother. So that just round out.
Dennis, so would I compare with Salon, APC, SLPP? Would I they compare with the twisting them bad? Like how this man they twist Yahya Jammeh.
Alpha Khan.
No, Alpha Khan.
Where is SLPP? Would I not they with the twist?
We not the twist. We can straight.
No. Una broke. Una they broke. Una not the twist. Una broke. Una they broke. We the twist a little bit. Una na broke. Una they broke.
We not the twist. We can straight.
All right,
Nanko, SLPP na massacre. They massacre.
They tell you, I said I broke, then they broke. Then they twist, then they twist. All right. Well, thank you very much. I just want to thank Mr. Fabakary Tombong Jatta, when I'm the leader of the APRC and the confidence for former President Yahya Jammeh. As we all say, Yahya Jammeh for being come at this program here, but because of in refugee status, unfortunately, you're not going to be able to talk much. So he ordered Mr. Jatta for can represent him, and like when I say, I think say he did a very good job for can represent in boss, and we just hope say African leaders them, then they look at African people more that they proud and say I don't go trust 300 million from IMF or the World Bank for make I can't do this. I don't go trust this. I don't go trust 2.1 billion for Lunge Airport.
Oh, okay. I will me left now. Yeah.